is chapstick, not a glue stick, okay? Just in case you ask.
It looks like a glue stick.
That's what everybody thinks. I didn't have one of my smaller ones.
Yeah, I wish they made a glue stick that looked like chapstick. I gave it to my wife and have no problems.
Yeah, but they can't ask her
Gotta be
questions.
careful. My son and I have been walking around the neighborhood. If I see her out on the porch, I'll be like, hey, no.
She'll say, she'll be like shocked.
Hey, Ro, can you give us the mailing address? The name and the mailing address.
All right, let's get started. Okay, pursuant to the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been published in the Burlington County Times and Trenton Times on the 5th day of January, 2025. Additionally, posted on the official bulletin board of the Township of Pemberton on the 1st day of January, 2025. Those wishing to be notified of changes to scheduled meetings were notified via email or regular mail. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Dewey?
Here.
Mr. Harper?
Here.
Mr. Ward?
Here.
Mr. Doyle?
Here.
Mr. Bianchini?
Here. Okay. Meeting is now called to order. Closed session, resolution number 178, 2025, authorizes council to go into closed session. This evening, we have nothing but closed session, so you will be stuck sitting there looking at our wonderful faces for the next, hopefully not too long of a time. All right, public comments. The council's intention is to preserve the level of respect, courtesy, and civility required to successfully conduct the public's business. In this regard, the council should be addressed during public participation as a collective body and not individual members. In order to respect the speaker's time, council members will not engage in a dialogue or debate with the speaker. However, council members should feel free to ask the speaker a question or questions once recognized by the council president for purposes of clarifications. Council members can offer comments on the speaker's remarks once the speaker has concluded his or her comments in their allotted 5-minute time frame. So just be respectful of everybody's time. It's 5 minutes, doesn't seem like a long time, but let's try to maintain that time limit so others have an opportunity. Who's up? Tom.
Unless, let me guess, you're taking Marty's place tonight, huh?
Good evening. Yes, Harry's right. Marty's on vacation all the way on the other side of the country, so I get to do this tonight. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom Besselman, and I'm the Vice President of the BMIA. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with all of you tonight. I'd like to start by inviting everyone to our 50th sock hop this Friday at 7 p.m. at the BMIA building. We have treats, sweets, and of course, plenty of dancing and fun. It's a great chance to step back in time and enjoy the company of friends and family. We hope you'll come by and enjoy the festivities with us. Next, I'd like to discuss the graduation luncheon on June 22nd, which is dedicated to the graduates of our BMIA members. We are excited to offer sizable monetary gifts to our graduates this year, including preschool, 8th grade, and high school graduates. Membership is just $15 per family, covering your grandchildren as well. The cutoff for eligibility is June 10th, so please hurry and let us know if you have a graduate to include. Though we'll be off for the summer, we have our exciting water carnival coming up on July 12th at 6 p.m. Stop by the BMIA table for a t-shirt, to buy a membership, or just chat with us. We'll have a float in the water carnival, and I'm sure it's going to win first place. Oh, yeah, Dan's in too. As we take our summer break, I want to remind you of our return in September with a bang. We'll kick off with an open mic night on September 5th at 7 p.m., and we'll also be hosting a Red Cross blood drive later in the month. For anyone interested in giving blood, please visit redcrossblood.org, enter zip code 08015, scroll down to September, and you can sign up for a time slot. Looking ahead to October, we are excited to host a school board candidate forum on October 26th at 2 p.m. This will be an opportunity for you to hear from the candidates and learn about their different ideas for our school system. Then on Halloween, October 31st, we will have our building open all day for fun trick-or-treat experience for the kids, including a haunted house. That night, we will transform into an adult costume party with prizes. More details to come. In November, we'll be hosting the Great Berry Bake Off, so it's never too early to start thinking about what delicious baked goods you want to bring. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, look, Marty,
We'll tell
you did a great job.
She wrote it for me.
Anyone else? All right, so we're gonna switch things up a little bit with the agenda. We're gonna put new business up next. Meeting minutes first, all right. Well, before resolutions, we'll do meeting minutes, then we'll do new business. I have a motion on the meeting minutes from last month.
Make a motion to approve the
In May.
meeting minutes for April 2nd,
I'll
April
second.
16th, May 7th, and May 21st.
Danny, you seconded? Danny, you second?
Yeah.
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Mr. Dewey,
Yes.
Mr. Harper,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Abstain, I was absent for one.
Mr. Bianchini.
Yes. So now we're going to do new business. The first thing we want to do, and it's not listed here on the new business, is we did receive a budget from the mayor, and we did have a special meeting on Monday. Some employees could not make it because they had previous engagements. So our community director, Ms. Flaherty, is here to answer any outstanding questions, and of course Candace is here to keep her honest, so. All right. Who's up?
Thanks, Ro, for the update. You answered some of the questions I had already. I know, I'll start from the back. Your employee, Michael Knobloch, with his, I mean, according to our budget, he's getting a $1.45 an hour raise. Is that not correct? You're saying 17 cents an hour increase in pay.
So the raise that he already received, which is the only raise that I know of, was that it was about 17 cents an hour. But if he's in the budget for $1 something an hour, that's wonderful.
Yeah, dollar.
That cures that issue.
Yeah, $1.45 is that. While we're on employees, I had a question at the last meeting about Jay Mazzio. He's getting a $20,000 raise, but I understand that he's increasing his time. He went from 2 days a week to, what's he going to work now, 4 or 5 days a week instead?
So that change happened last November, and we had 2 electrical subcodes. The one resigned, and he was working 3 days, and Mr. Mazzio was working 2. So Mr. Mazzio is here already 5 days a week. So
Okay.
that raise is already in effect, and it comes out of the construction trust.
Okay, that answers that question. And you're just giving me softballs here because you brought up the construction trust. And, you know, I know Matt and I went over this a little bit with Candace. We don't fully understand. Most of your employees get paid through the construction trust, if I'm correct. Is that right?
In the past, no, but Candace and I have worked together, and most of them will be paid through the trust, as they should be.
Okay. And so, yeah, this is where I didn't understand it fully. They'll be paid through the trust now, and that's, but their salaries still show on the budget, but the monies in the trust does not show as revenues on the budget. That's where I know I got a little confused about it. And, you know, Candace tried to explain it to me, but it's still, I guess, over my head.
So only 2 employees are under the current fund budget. The
Right.
salary sheet that you received, that's just the UCC salaries. It's not in the budget because it is through a trust. So
Okay.
it's just to let you know what the employees get paid, but it's not
Okay.
in this current fund
Okay,
budget.
so that UCC tab was just informational? It's not-
Yes.
Okay.
Right. All right, and in this trust, you know, I saw, you know, like I said, you gave me a lot of softballs today because I had these questions. I see in there that there's a surplus of about 400,000 there. And, you know, I know from past experiences that you've been asking for more employees. And you, obviously, in the trust, you have that money to fund those employees. So it would not add to any burden on the town's budget if we hired a, you know, I'm thinking 1 or 2 more employees if you have obviously 400,000 there. And then anytime I'm wrong, you let me know. In turn, that would help your department go out and be able to do more as far as inspections and, you know, code stuff, which would in turn bring more money into the trust, making it self-replenishing. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So my next questions to the mayor is why do you keep refusing to give her more employees when it's a self-sufficient department? You know, they can go out there and better do code enforcement jobs, better do inspection jobs, and they'll pay for themselves. I just, you know, I just don't understand. You know, I know I'm the new guy on the block here, but I've been paying attention for about 3 years now. And, you know, I don't understand why that department gets neglected. You know, you're not getting employees in there. Why won't you consider more employees?
There was a request for 2 full-time employees. There's been a lot of turnover and stuff in that department. We seem to lose people there, so I figured that it would be easier if we had 2 part-time people, see how they work out. And I'm doing the same thing with some of the other departments, like the police. Instead of hiring a regular police officer, we've been going with Class 1 and Class 2 and trying to use them as an avenue to get the right people into the positions that we want them in before they're fully committed in. So, I mean, it's an avenue that I'm trying, and it's been successful with the police. So we were gonna do it with code enforcement. There was a request for 2 people, so we thought we'd bring them in part-time, see how it works out, and then adjust as needed.
Well, that was last year, right? They were brought in, so now we should be readjusting again if that's working out. You know, if there's a
didn't hire
need,
2.
if there's a need and there's funds there, you know, I just think we should do it. You know,
It would seem to me like if we're going to hire them part-time, we're going to give them an opportunity to learn the job. We're going to give them the skills, even if it's at a part-time base. They're going to be working the job. And the first thing they're going to do while they're here is they're going to use Pemberton Township as a stepping stone, which historically, police-wise, has been seen by the borough. You know, the borough had problems for years. They brought in officers, but until they put their salaries up where they were competitive, officers just raked up their years there and then carried them somewhere else. It seems to me like if we're not going to hire employees with a full-time status and give them something to work towards, why are they going to waste their time coming here other than to use us as a stepping stone? And especially if you can put them in a position where they can make their own salary, that just sounds like a win.
Well, you're the department head. You know what's best for your department. What would be best for your department?
To have 2 full-time employees, but again, with those 2 full-time employees, I did ask for a full-time secretary because we need somebody in the office, you know, to do the secretarial work. Like I said, it all pays for itself. I understand what the mayor's saying, but there's a probationary period. You get 90 days, whether you can make it or break it, and if they don't, then we don't
Yeah.
keep them on. So we do have that protection.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, in today's climate, you know, turnover is everywhere. I don't care what industry you're in. You know, the industry I just came from, they were going through 5 people to get one good one ever. You know, it's just a fact of life anymore, you know. but you can see anytime you can see room in a department where it's going to be self-sustaining, bringing the money back in, you should embrace it. That's what I'm saying. And, I tell many of the township residents, time after time, when they have complaints about not getting, things fast enough, I say, they're understaffed, and you get tired of hearing that, So we do need to start building up staff, and we need to consider hiring these people. The money's there, and it's not coming out of the taxpayers' budget. We're not hitting the taxpayers for it. And again, if I'm wrong, tell me. If we don't use it, we're going to lose it eventually. Am I correct?
So if we don't use it, the way it works with the construction trust is after 2 years, we have to reevaluate the fees. So you're not allowed to keep a surplus on the records. You really need to use the money, or you're going to have to reduce fees.
Right.
And it's a very long process. It confuses all the contractors because they know what the set fees are for the stuff that they come in for. When we change fees, it just really messes everything up, and it's a lot of work.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that the mayor will, hear what's going on here and reconsider. I know, and Roe's department's not the only department that's lacking employees, but, where we can do it and not hurt the township taxpayers, I think we should do it, it's just my opinion. Roe, you answered most of my questions in this thing. Thank you for coming in. That's all I got.
You're welcome.
Yeah, if I could, Ro, let's suppose that tomorrow morning you had 2 full-time employees in that department. Do you have an estimate of how much revenue they would generate for your department in a year?
So, if you can get to 5 violations a day, which would be $100 each violation, it's $500 a day, per how many days of work days you have per year. That's what you bring in, because they should be getting to 5 locations every single day.
And I guess you're not able to do that today, right?
No.
Okay.
I actually, I didn't actually have any code officers because the 2 that we have are both out on medical just recently, and 1 is still on medical. So I have like 1 code officer, and he just became a full-time code officer because he was only a trainee. So that's what I have enforcing the town right now.
So can I ask a question, Councilman? So we're looking at this department being a revenue generator and not a department that brings people in compliance?
Well, it brings revenue in.
No, you didn't answer my question. Right now, we're trying to get people in compliance. If you drive down the street and their house is not within compliance, and we try to bring them within compliance so it's safe and it meets the aesthetics that we're looking for our township. It sounds like from what you're saying, all you care about is the revenue that we're going to bring in from our residents by fining them. Is that correct?
Well, if you ride through this town, it's a mess because she doesn't have enough help to do her job. And then I heard through the grapevine, when they build a case, the guy next door throws it out. What is that about? And I heard, I was talking to a couple of police officers. They investigate something, they write the tickets, they go to the court, and it's dismissed. So I don't, has anybody heard anything about that?
We are looking to clean things up, but if there's not enough people out there, they can't cover all the violations in the town. And if it ever got to the point where it was all cleaned up, and then I guess we'd have to look at either moving people to another department. But I don't see that happening anytime in the near future. As Mr. Dewey said, you drive around the town, violations are out there. It's just a matter of you have to have the people to go out there and write it up, and you have to have, it taken to the next step. Most people will, I believe will clean up, straighten up their violation, pay their fine without going to the courts. But we do, as Mr. Dewey said, have a problem with that from what we're being told, not just from one department, but several, so we need to address that at a later date, I guess.
The only way we're going to improve the aesthetics of this town and get it back to where we talked about the good old days, how it used to be, is for people to just have plain old common sense responsibility and just keep your area tidy. It doesn't cost a dime to keep it tidy. It's when you let it get in disarray, it starts to affect your neighbors. That becomes a problem. If you can't clean it up and maintain it, and the township has to come out and ask you to do it, I'm sure on the first time, they're not getting hammered with a fee, and I'm sure when it comes to court, as we've heard, they've been very lenient. If you don't have the time and you don't do it, unfortunately, yes, it's going to cost you. So if you don't want to put the money into your own property to maintain it and keep it up to standards, if you want to look at it as a revenue, then that's how you can look at it. I don't look at it as a revenue, I look at it as a fee. You have a responsibility to your neighbors and to your town to maintain your property, period.
I think in this situation, revenue, fee, it's one and the same. Cleaning up the town, better aesthetics, getting people, within code, those things go hand in hand. The money comes with the violations. So it's not, do you want aesthetics, do you want a revenue generator? It goes hand in hand. It's one and the same. It's one and the same.
Right. The first thing is you have to have the people able to go out there and, write, without those people out there to write it. And if she's saying she's got people out now, and that's another situation that you're going to have in every department. People are out, either vacations, sick, hurt, so you have to have other extra people to address it, And again, because it's a self-generator, it's not hurting the tax rate. It's why I can't understand why we haven't increased people in that department. And I'll continue to not understand that, until I see improvement there. If you see a place to make improvement and it's at no cost, you should do it,
When I first got elected, one of the first things I brought up was, was it 32 Press Avenue? Now, that's 3 years ago. And if you go by there right now, it's almost the same as it was 3 years ago. And I know he's been in and out of court with a smack on his hand, and every day they're taking motors out of cars, stripping trailers. Everything's in their front lawn. I mean, you have anything to add about Press Avenue? I know these guys getting away with murder.
So Press Avenue, we're having a hard time locating the owner, and I am working with Joe Macklin right now. We have the matter in Superior Court. The ones that can't get compliance through the court system that are in really bad condition, we are taking it to the next level, and we are taking them into Superior Court. To just touch on what the mayor had said just a little bit ago, I'm not in it for fines, I'm in it for compliance. My staff has been directed, they're not allowed to close out a case until the compliance is there, whether they have to take it to trial or not. So once it gets to that point, yes, the fines have to come, but we're trying to work with the residents. If they get the notice and they clean it up and, say even a summons is issued in between there, we're not trying to hurt the residents. A lot of times we reduce the fines down to
I think this individual on
nothing.
Press Avenue deserves to be hurt.
Absolutely.
Because he doesn't care.
Yes,
He's been in court.
yes.
And he's doing it every day.
He doesn't even own the house.
No.
And that's the problem. We're trying, if we go and take serious action against the property, Mrs. Baldwin, who can't be located, would be the one who reaps the repercussions of that. So we don't want to do that. And Joe and I were just talking before the meeting started tonight about it.
Yeah. I mean, the property right across from that house where the log cabin was, Edie's been trying to sell that since the township made her tear it down. And when they see what's in the backyard, she loses the sale,
That's right.
and that's a big money property, and that's the example. And we're not saying that your department's not doing its job, it's just that you need more people to do the job.
I don't know if anyone's familiar with 300 Ridge. That was just as bad. And now the property's finally in compliance after probably 10 years. So it can get done. It's just that some people, we have to take them into Superior Court. You have to take it to the next level.
I mean,
Shouldn't happen, but
like-
we have to.
For aggravation, can't you put liens against Press Avenue property?
So the liens are already there. We would like to tag and tow, and the only way we can do the tag and tow to go onto somebody's property is to go through Superior Court where a judge orders it.
All right. Sounds cool.
Right, those were good examples to support code enforcement needing additional bodies. I was wondering where you were going with this, and I was like, there he goes, okay.
Well, you got to think of too, when this stuff goes to Superior Court, that takes those people out of the town probably for a day to testify. So now you've got nobody out there doing the job that needs to be done.
Any further budget questions?
No, not for Rome. I got a couple for the mayor. Did you find any more out from Jay about the cell tower situation? And I know you were working on it.
He wasn't in today, but he did say it was going to take a little bit of time to do some research on that.
Okay, but we are working on it. He's putting his full effort at it. Yeah. Okay.
This gentleman's a retired Marine. There is nothing but full effort.
Okay. I don't know, I mean, I guess I'm going to be a little bit of a wise ass here, but, you know, in my mind, he's kind of like a unicorn. He's often talked about, but never seen. You know, I mean, I come here a lot of Tuesdays, and that's supposed to be his day to be here. And I think on one occasion, I seen him and he was leaving for the day at 11:30. So, you know, we do have him contracted for 16 hours a week, I believe.
And I know he wasn't here today, but he did call me this afternoon at lunch and had a conversation about a different matter on the telephone today. Even though he's not here, he was talking to me today about Pemberton Township business. So what you're saying is really misleading.
No, I don't think it is. I don't know how his contract reads for sure, if he's physically supposed to be here or not, but, you know, I know, I was told many times he's here every Tuesday, but I came here a lot of Tuesdays just to see, and I only saw him once out of maybe 6 or 7, and he was on his way out to lunch. You know, so that's just what I'm saying. That's it, nothing more, nothing less. Yeah.
Mr. President, if I could, Ro, while we have you under the spotlight, how's the housing authority stuff going? The monies?
Excellent. So the resales and rentals, we brought in $103,000 last year, and the abandoned properties, we brought in $188,000, which is the most money that the township's ever seen.
What I was talking about was the money for our residents out of the fund that we have now, the $1.3 million that you're working on?
So we are aggressively moving forward. We have the housing element on for the planning board meeting on the 9th. So once that happens and Jerry has to file the paperwork within 48 hours, we're done. And we can start rolling out the program. We have the applications done, we have the manual done, everything is done.
Everything has to be done by the end of this month, by the
That's
end of
right.
June, so it will.
Everything is done. We're just waiting just for the paperwork to get where it has to go, and then we will be taking in applications.
So the work's getting
Applications
done?
Everything.
So is it safe to assume then that you've received your stipend now for that work?
No, Tricia and I have not, but we're not going to let the residents down. We're going to continue on doing what we have to do to get the program on board.
How many meetings ago was that approved?
March?
March? So while you're here, sir, can you give us an explanation why they haven't been sent out?
That is current litigation. I won't discuss it.
What litigation is there, Mayor? I'm not aware of any
I
litigation.
believe that's part of the last lawsuit.
I'm sorry?
I believe that's part of the last lawsuit.
I don't know what lawsuit you mean. I'm sorry. You mean about the lawsuit that Ms. Flaherty started?
No.
Hold on. What lawsuit do you mean?
I'm not going to discuss that here. We can go into executive if you want.
Well, why hasn't Ms. Flaherty received her stipend? That's not part of a lawsuit.
The stipend portion of this is part of a lawsuit, so I'm not going to discuss it.
Not for Ms. Flaherty.
Or pending lawsuits.
We just have
Every day is a pending
So to be
lawsuit.
clear, that's the answer you're going to hide behind here? We approve money to be paid to these people for the job they're doing, and it's being held up, we're understanding, I'm assuming, by your office.
Councilman Perry, I'm not discussing. You can keep asking me the same question 4 different ways. I'm not discussing it.
Understood.
What else was on that order we requested him to be here for? What was that question about? There were 2 questions on.
Water and sewer bills.
The water and sewer bills, did we get any updates on those, water and sewer bills, or they, you know, I know you said that they're,
We discussed that.
Yeah,
that's
you
been
and I
res-
discussed
they
it, and you
fixed
said they
those-
were-
They
but-
fixed those bills, and they fixed the 1 meter, and they're waiting for the reading anytime now.
That billing?
and if we give the water and sewer department a list of properties, they can show us where they fixed them and 6 months back worth of correct bills, possibly, if we ask for them. I mean, I'm
can-
guessing
you
I'm
can-
going to have Jerry's.
Councilman, you can send me that request, and I'll have them do that.
Okay, all right, we'll put together a list of all those properties, and, yeah, because, as I said the other night, if it's revenues that the township is owed, you know, we should be getting them. I mean, I hate to go out and, you know, say anything about rumors, but, you know, we discussed some of these properties months and months ago, and, yeah, I don't know, Mr. Dewey might know a little more than I do about it, but, you know, we've been told that they're still getting charged residential rates, and that's, you know, not what the, you know, why should a big business be paying residential rates, you know, instead of commercial rates? I don't understand that.
But you're giving me residential, commercial, but you're not giving me any addresses or
Well,
anything like that.
the
And it's all
Wawa on
rumors.
Pemberton.
And it's all rumors, so,
The
I
two-
mean, that's
the-
irresponsible of you,
Nah.
in my opinion.
Go ahead.
Well, they're paying $84 a quarter for water at the Pemberton Borough or Pemberton, Wawa in Pemberton. So they have 2 bathrooms that are used all the time. They have a full kitchen, they're using the water. They're having sprinklers going in the summertime. You know, making all the coffee they do. And every quarter they pay $84.
I understand, and the Councilman Harper and I did talk about that. There was a broken water meter there. It was broken for 1 billing cycle, and they've gone in and repaired and replaced that meter. And they're waiting to go in on the regular meter reading schedule, which is, I guess, any day if it hasn't already happened, and we'll see what happened. But to say it was for months and months and months, I don't believe that. I
Yeah,
do know
I
that
think
it
it
did
was
happen
years.
for one.
Years, not months.
Give me the list, and we'll do the research and get back with you on it.
Well, start with the Wawa. That one's a big one.
Sir, give me a list.
Okay.
We
Can
can
we
make
get
sure
that
200
list
South
done,
Pemberton's
girls?
on there as well.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I bet you there's $300,000 out there on the street that we're owed. And that's being conservative.
I'm trying to get that resolution.
Resolutions aren't on the website. What are you looking for? Maybe that I'd be able to access it from here. No. You don't want me to go look for it? It's right in my office.
You think so? Okay.
Hang on real quick. You can continue talking.
All right, we're done with questions?
I think we're done with questions until we find out what the rest of that resolution was.
Well, let's finish new business. Purchase over 3,000, so we can move on to resolutions. Purchase new business. Purchase over 3,000. A1 Fire Department 4 sets of Morning Pride PPE PPFD from MES in a total amount of $18,492.20.
Council President, I don't know if you can approve that now. I think you're going to have to wait until Resolution 183 is approved. That's a resolution authorizing the fire department to accept that Haynes Family Foundation grant for $20,000, and that's what they're going to use to pay for this.
Any discussion on this?
No, I mean,
Oh, sorry about that.
I know, you know, just what the mayor was saying, that was a grant that was given to the fire department especially for that. We discussed it on Monday night. The fire chief used that money and cut some money off his fire budget to help out with this year's budget.
Yep.
I mean,
You can consider adopting the resolution, subject to, you can adopt that purchase, subject to the resolution getting adopted later on tonight.
Do we need to wait for Amy to type this in, or?
Take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, yeah, we can do
Finish
that.
coming now.
Question number 2.
Yep, I got it. Just reading through it again. All right, so, do we have a motion on that? Then I'll do this.
Okay, while you were going there, Amy, we
So
read,
motion on what?
Oh, yeah.
we read new business, A1 to approve that, and,
The resolution wasn't approved yet.
No.
no,
So approving that is conditional based on approving 186, 2025, since we flipped
Okay.
things around.
okay.
All right.
So that you're up to speed.
So the motion is approving it conditional on approval of 186.
Yes,
Have a second?
Second.
Who made the motion? Sorry.
I did.
Harry.
Harry. Mr. Harper?
Yes,
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Okay. New business A2, Public Works, 2 flash cams, portable crime deterrence / enforcement, dumping / graffiti from Q-Star Technology LLC in the total amount of $16,995.
just so everybody in the public knows, these are, special cameras that go out and put in different sites where illegal dumping's going on and try to catch illegal, people dumping illegally and stuff. I saw the packet on it, the information, they look like they're pretty good things. I make a motion, we approve new business A2.
Well, I got a question.
Go ahead.
How can we spend money without a budget?
Well, you have a,
We have a temporary budget.
questions for me, you have a temporary budget. that you
This,
adopt.
and this is coming out of the Clean Community Grant.
It doesn't matter where it's coming from.
Oh, yeah, it does. It's not part of the budget.
But, I mean, we have no budget and we spend money.
Council President, can I interject for a second on this
please go
one?
ahead.
Harry, where are we looking to put these cameras at?
I haven't been told any sites. They're movable. They can, if they're detecting any problems with, illegal dumping, they'll put them there. You know,
So does Public Works have like an identifiable area of where we're seeing?
I know Ms. Phillips gives them areas about every other meeting, so. So I'm sure they're probably going to start in some of those areas where she's proposed.
State roads.
White's Bog Road, Ridge Road.
Okay, so, and we're looking at 2 of them? Are we, I mean, is Public Works going to continue this program and purchase more? And then, in the future, and then, hopefully cover the entire township, or what's it look like?
That I was not made aware of. I mean,
The only reason why I asked,
information I saw, they're portable, they're, in my mind, a upgraded version of trail cameras. They could be mounted anywhere, telephone poles, trees,
yeah, I mean, it's not, and I'm saying it's a very good start to an issue that we've had for, forever in the township. I just, if we're starting to initiate it, maybe Tom can send out an email to, or somebody can send out an email to, council or, the township in general and say, hey, we're going to start here and move around here, there, and everywhere. The portable, that's great, but, if somebody's dumping, Mr. Costa over there, right? I mean, I went out last year and, I picked up, what was it, a freezer, Alex? And some other trash myself, right? Right, because nobody else would do it, right? So like, do we put one there? And then if we don't put one there, then Alex and his family's out. And then we got to move things around. And then, maybe you got Birmingham pit over by, Birmingham and the residents, there's, illegal dumping that happens to happen over there a lot, unless it's slowed down, I don't know. Chatsworth pit, Mount Misery pit, that sort of thing, and then PL pit. If we put out 2, we cover one part of town, and then, I just don't want to neglect the rest of the township. If we're moving forward with it and making a program, it'd be nice.
Council,
Clean
Sort of
community.
like the speed bumps.
The Clean Community Advisor approached me on this. They have money that they get from the state for doing this clean community, cleanups and stuff like that. And they're allowed to utilize the money in different ways, other than the grants that they give to the participants in the cleanups. So they are looking at ways to put things in to stop people from littering and do things. So one of the things that she found and one of the things that we can buy are these cameras. We don't know how they're going to work. We don't know if they're going to be a great success or something that is kind of borderline. So she wanted to order 2 of these to see how they work out.
Okay.
And I gave her approval to order 2 of them. Along with that, she found that there's no littering signs available in this grocery list that she can order from. So I believe she ordered some of those so that we can put them at some of these locations that some of the residents would like us to put no littering signs up. And I'm hoping that we'll mirror them together so that they work together. So if we do catch somebody littering in front of these signs, we have a leg to stand on when we go to press charges on them.
Perfect. That sounds great, Mr. Mayor. So let me ask you a follow-up question because you led into that. So clean communities, and we're talking about sustainable NJ program, I'm sure, and that whole program. How are we looking at getting certified on that this year?
What do you, I don't understand.
Oh, do we have our bronze certification back?
Couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell me? I could tell you, no, we don't, right? Because I pushed for it last year, and Mr. Hornicle just kind of decided to throw wrenches in the gears and not get us approved with the help of Ms. Black with the Environmental Commission, Mr. Besselman over there. So what I would recommend doing is, if we go forward with these cameras, right? We're missing the boat in regards to sustainable NJ program, and it's low-hanging fruit. I've been asking for it for about 2 years now to get back to the bronze level and even get to the silver level and get the Environmental Commission involved and get Ms. Flaherty's department involved and get us recertified. So we're missing the boat on an extraordinary amount of grant money in regards to that program completely. So that brings up a great point. I won't beat a dead horse, but hopefully we get back into the sustainable NJ program.
If I may, Mr. President, I think, which you can back me up on this, these new game cameras they have today are the same size as the originals. They have the antenna because they're, they have motion detectors, so probably every 2 weeks you got to change the batteries depending on how busy it is. It's got the card in there, but with the motion detector, it'll go off and somebody at the township could have it set up with their phone and they could see it live. You could probably get the tag number, ID of the person, but they're like $69 a piece.
Yeah, well, this is a lot more involved than that. It's, it has solar backup. Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, a
Go
lot of
ahead.
the information was in the packet, but
Yeah.
there's solar backup. They do have the ability to send the, photos and stuff to the police station or whoever they want to do it. They can get tag numbers.
But $17,000 for 2 cameras? Seems-
It's a lot more than 2 cameras. I read the whole packet.
Spend it.
Okay.
Approve it.
Need a motion.
I make a motion, we approve new business A2.
Just like the fucking trash bags.
Well, I'll second it, Alex. I hope you get one on your street at least.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Sure.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
One more thing for the mayor. It's been brought to our attention that you meet with private developers after the developers have submitted applications to the zoning board and/or planning board. You have private meetings with them? Is that accurate?
There was a meeting with a developer. I was unaware that they had an application in. They did submit an application when I was on vacation. It was emailed to me. On the application that I received in my email, it didn't have block or lot. It had the developer name and that was it. I looked at it, I thought this is something I can get into when I get back home from vacation, and didn't get into it. As soon as I got back, this developer reached out to us. I knew who it was. I haven't heard from him in 2 years. I was surprised that they called, and I was happy, figuring they got things back on track, and wanted to know where they needed to go from there and have some discussion on other things. During that meeting is when I found out that they did have an application in, and I have got an email recently saying that that application is going to be withdrawn and won't be in existence after, I think, tomorrow.
No?
No, I have no questions. If that application is going to be withdrawn, I guess there's no, issues at all. I mean, but if it continues to go forward,
Well, I
I'm
think
guessing you're going to abstain from voting on the planning board. now, right?
I've already contacted somebody to sit in my seat, and I'll withdraw myself from the board for that application. And I have somebody that's fully qualified to sit in my place for that application.
So was that an isolated incident, or has that happened before?
I was isolated as far as I know.
So you've never met privately with developers to discuss an application that was submitted?
No.
And I got a question for Jerry there on that.
And Council President, I'm sorry, Councilman Harper, for cutting you off. There was a community development person in that room when we were having the conversation, so it wasn't by myself.
Jerry, my question, the mayor said he's going to appoint somebody else to sit in his seat. Is that kosher? I mean,
Yes, the municipal-
I mean, we have, what's the term for the extra planning board people we have?
Alternates.
Alternates. Shouldn't just an alternate take that spot and not the mayor appoint somebody? There's 2 alternates on the planning board too, and I believe 2 alternates on the zoning board. And that's what they're there for, to take the spots when people can't fill in, you know what I'm saying?
The municipal land use law has 4 different classes. The mayor's, whoever the mayor is, that's one class, class 1.
Okay,
And the statute says it's the mayor or his designee. So the mayor has the absolute right to appoint anybody he wants. He need not be
okay.
an alternate member.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just was wondering why we had
Has to be somebody who
alternates.
lives in town, but that's it.
Yeah, I just wondered why we had alternates and why they just didn't, because if somebody else on the board is out, then an alternate takes that person's place, that's all. All right, thank you, Jerry.
I would personally like to thank them for screwing the deal up, because we certainly didn't need 2-story, 3-story townhouses in our town. So, thank you.
Would you like me to explain generally what that redevelopment plan is all about, just so that the public is aware of it?
Sure.
I think 3 years ago, and Ro can tell me where I go, or maybe the mayor, there was an agreement reached with someone that we would sell to him acreage, and he would construct, I think, 87 townhouses. And in exchange, I'm sorry? 96. It's a lot of townhouses. In exchange for which we would receive recreational equipment to put on a lot that we own for recreation. Now this is like 3 years ago. The value of those that recreational fair market value is $45,000. So the agreement provided that for $45,000 we would deed this property to the developer to build 90-ish townhouses. We have a lot of issues about that. So that's now going to be looked at more closely than apparently was 3 years ago.
Yeah, another good deal.
Jerry, if I can clarify, I could be wrong, but the 96 houses was going on a lot that they're buying from somebody else, I believe. There's 4 buildable lots that the township owns that they're going to build houses on, and the agreement was that the township would sell those lots to them if they put a park where we had a park before, or a playground.
Well, I'll have to look at it again, Mayor. That's not the way I remember it, but you could be right. I didn't prepare the agreement, it was 3 years ago, but I'm not too sure about that. I do recall about 90 townhouses, I recall that. But I'll check it out. But either way, whatever we're giving up theoretically, could be 4 building lots, whatever it is, we're getting $45,000 worth of recreation equipment. But we're working on that one too.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. We appreciate you guys doing that. I mean, 45, I mean, you could get that much just for selling the 4 building lots, yeah. Yeah, 1 building lot if there's water and sewer there, yeah. I don't understand the deals we made in the past, but hopefully we'll straighten that one out too.
Thank you. We'll go to resolutions. Any appetite to a consent agenda, you pull something out? I'm just asking. Is that an option? And there's a couple on there we need to discuss.
Council President, 185, I think needs to be discussed.
Definitely. 186.
Well, I'd really like to have a little discussion on 180 and 181.
Okay.
I didn't want to steal Mr. Dewey's thunder, but,
What about anything else, Josh, Perry? So we'll have a consent agenda, excluding 180, 181, 185, and 186, 2025, correct?
yep.
Yep. Motion to approve consent agenda as amended.
Yeah, 186 isn't a problem. That's the one for the Pete.
So we don't need that one, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need a motion to approve the consent agenda
As amended.
as amended.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Sorry, that was Mr. Ward.
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
I'm a yes with an abstention for number 183, if you would, Amy, please. Thank you.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Okay. So 180, 2025, authorizing a sidebar agreement between the Township of Pemberton and Government Workers Union Local 2120 for compressed work weeks.
At my, I mean, it's something that, Danny and I have discussed even before I was a councilman. I'm all in favor of, township people getting a little extra time off, but I thought maybe, and I see they do it in one department, we stagger the people maybe and have half the department have off Friday through Sunday and the other half have off. Right, and that way the township building is open 5 days a week, just limited staffing on Mondays and Fridays. Well, yeah, but, no, they're still getting, they're still doing.
No, because of the staggered hours, you'd have 10-hour days
Oh, yeah,
instead of
the
8-hour
building's
days
gonna
for
be
the
open.
residents.
Sure, yeah, the building's going to be open longer, yeah. So I think the residents get the advantage of having the building open 5 days a week, a little longer hours, and the employees still get to have off, 3 days a week. I mean, if the, workers are, up for that, I'd like to see that adjustment made. I don't know who we have to talk to make that adjustment, but,
There's going to be,
Labor Council, I guess, was involved. Yeah, we would have to start this all over. It's part of the sidebar that says what days they're gonna be working and stuff.
Right.
And the other thing is, if we close for that Friday, we're not paying for air conditioning, we're not paying for.
I know you don't shut the air conditioning off.
It does get shut off. It shuts off on the weekend.
but
Or gets turned down, I don't know, but I'm in here on the weekends, and it's hot in this building, or it's cold during the summertime. Or wintertime, excuse
this
me.
building is here to serve these lovely people here. And when the building's closed and somebody has a major water leak or something like that, we're here to serve the taxpayers. And I don't understand why they have to have, I don't have a problem with the employees, but it has to be staggered so there's people here when everybody else is off. You can't just shut down the municipal building and have nobody here.
This was proposed to me my first year here. And we talked about it and we tried it.
I
And
don't
there was a
remember
couple-
talking about it.
I'm sorry?
I said, I don't remember talking about it.
I know it was approved last year, and
It's been approved every year I've been mayor.
Yeah.
And it's gone through council too. So if you weren't aware of it, you were probably sleeping.
Yeah, right.
But-
Well, you're gonna have a problem with it this year, buddy.
Not me. I come in on Fridays anyway,
Oh,
usually,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, I know. I know. You work 8 hours a day.
Uh-huh, I do.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, I'm here every day, 8 hours.
well, when was this due to start if we approved it tonight?
It would start when school's out.
Okay,
This is
so,
primary for, I mean, one of the things that they discussed is, helps the people, the employees that have kids and stuff.
right,
With childcare, there's a lot of benefits for our employees where they really like this.
sure.
So
Well,
they approached me again this year and they asked me if we could do it. I asked if there was any objections and I didn't have too many people that were opposed to it. So we ran it through the labor attorney, we ran it through the labor attorney and through the unions, and it's at you folks now. So if you deny it tonight, we'll be open 5 days a week, 8 hours a day.
We want to work with you, but you can't close the building down with nobody here.
Then
It's
we'll
got
have
to
to
be
start-
alternated.
We'll have to start the whole process and maybe we'll enact it in July.
Well, maybe
I
for the
mean-
employee's sake, we could expedite it?
you're,
I have to run it through the union and the labor attorney. I don't have any control over those folks.
well, if I'm not mistaken, we'll have one more meeting before school closes, so if it's adjusted and it's amenable to them, we can approve it at the next meeting. So, with that, I make a motion that we table this until administration goes back and sees if the employees are interested in doing it where half work, on Fridays and half work on Mondays. Yeah.
181 is the same thing.
That's the same thing, just a
Different union.
right, table both the 180 and 181 and see if they're amenable to doing that. I don't think we're going to save much as far as air conditioning goes, because whether you're running it, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, or 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, it's not going to be much different, So that's my recommendation.
Councilman Harper, could I chime in real quick?
Oh, sure.
And so what I can say is I've been here for the same length of time as the mayor and Danny have been here. The first year this came up, I raised concerns when I was on council. I came in and talked to the folks in the administrative office here, and they seemed to like the idea. Last year it went through again. I raised the same concerns, but less. So they have been doing it for 2 years. That's just my 2 cents. It's nothing new. I questioned it again when me and Danny were here our first year. And, I said, hey, matter of fact, I think I said something to the effect of, hey, working a 10-hour day is really tough. I do 12-hour days, right, 6 days a week. And the answer I got was, oh, everybody's okay with it, Josh, everybody wants to do this, and it affords more time on the weekends with family and whatnot. But I do understand your concerns. I'm not dismissive. I just wanted to share that information with you,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I mean, I think this would accomplish the same thing, Josh. If we staggered them, the residents would still be able to get into the township building more hours of the week.
Right.
And all the employees would still get 3-day weekends, just staggered, that's
Right.
all.
My recommendation to council would be then, I wouldn't table it. If that's the case, I would just say, hey, cancel it and tell the mayor, we'll tell the mayor, hey, go back and figure this out real quick. I don't know if tabling it would be a good idea, because then you're just delaying the inevitable. But I don't know. Just my opinion.
Josh, another thing, you got to remember, when we first got on here, anytime it was to waste money or do something stupid, we always lost 3-2.
I know, I would agree.
We were always no for stupid stuff, but we were always outvoted with the other side. And we're here to serve the taxpayers, and you can't serve them if the building's closed. That's the only thing it's totally stupid. And I want the people to have time off, but it's got to be split. You cannot close the building.
I have to chime in there. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Heather.
Apparently I've been speaking up more than I usually do, but as an employee here, and I am here 8 hours a day, and I'm going to call out Candace as well. I understand Mr. Dewey's comments. However, when you have a small staff, such as the administrative office, it's me and Sunshine, and then there's the administration staff, which is 2. So if 2 of us are gone for a 10-hour day, it makes it difficult because you have lunch times where only 1 person is there. In Candace's case, I believe her office only has 3 employees, so right now she's down to 2. So you're talking about 1 person being there for a 10-hour day with nobody else there. We have noticed, and I can only speak specifically for my office, and Roe has a lot more people in her office. However, it also gets difficult when you have things staggered because who's in on what day? If one employee needs to answer the question and they're out, and maybe they're going to be on Monday, maybe they're going to be in on Friday. Having the 1 day off during the week, you're getting your doctor's appointments done, and other things. It's just, I understand your point, Mr. Dewey. I will say that for things like water emergencies, they happen 24/7, and there is a mechanism in place to handle that. As far as being here for the residents, we are here for during the summertime, this has come up, and we haven't had any problems with it. We have the drop box out front. We have electronic pay systems now. But I will say for my office, the front office, for Candace, and I don't know about any of the smaller offices, but I would say having it split up where there's 1 person in the office for 10 hours a day, that would be difficult. That would be more strain, I believe.
You actually, Amy, when I was going to step up, you actually beat me to the question I was going to ask on your behalf, and I was also going to ask the other 2 department heads that we have here. Every office is different size, with different numbers of employees in it, and I was going to put you guys on the spot and ask you, how would your offices function personally, just the 2 of you, and then I was going to ask you as well, with a staggered skeleton crew on a Monday or a Friday? If it was still doable, where the employees that were staggered wouldn't be overburdened, as Amy's saying it would be in the front office with just 2 of them there trying to figure out lunch times and things like that. How would your offices work with a staggered crew? Would they be basically 50% crew on Monday and then again 50% crew on Friday, only being full force Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
So for community development, we're so short-staffed now that we are always working like that. I see the point about the 10-hour workday. It's a long day. I see what happens to the employees. They're very tired. I do like the idea of a staggered day. You could even float around the idea of maybe 1 late night that everybody works and you get a half a day on Friday. There's a lot of ways it could be worked out. It wouldn't make a difference in my office. We would split the crew. Some people would be off on Monday and some people would all be off on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, there's no benefit to getting creative with compressed work.
Yeah.
It's got to be a one-size-fits-all type of thing, because there are different sizes, different departments. Me, quite frankly, Danny, don't throw nothing at me. I'm a big supporter of it. I think the 4 and 3, Monday through Thursday, Friday through Sunday off, given our structure here, I think it's effective and it works. But that's my opinion. So.
Anybody else want to kick this around anymore?
No, I mean, I think if it's not going to happen until after school anyway, if we table it, it gives administration a chance to ask all the workers, and if they come back and say they'd rather have just all on Fridays, then we'll continue with it at the next meeting and approve it, I guess.
I do
I agree with
believe
Harry.
that the resolution says that it would start the 16th.
The week of the 16th, so I think the first
So
day off
that
was at the
Friday.
20th.
So specifically for my department, there's 2 of us. We perform very different job duties. Hopefully, we will be hiring a 3rd person, which means I'll be training. Having a staggering day would be difficult. For instance, the other employee was out today, and I spent most of the day answering the questions that he would normally be answering. There are questions that he will get that he won't be able to answer from me. That's my specific department. Both of us also have young children, so alerting our daycares, of what days our children are going to be there, I think that would be really short notice. That's my concern. And if we did staggering, I would feel bad to say, I'm taking Fridays because I already told my daycare that versus, you get Mondays. That's just my outlook. I'm also not a customer-facing office, though. So if you would just take that into consideration.
Guys, I completely respect where you're coming from, I really do. But as far as being a prior employee here, there's things we talked about before that sometimes always money isn't everything. Sometimes the benefits that we can provide go a lot further than the financial gain of an extra 50 cents an hour or something like that. As a previous employee here, I would see this as a benefit. I remember 2 years ago when Mr. Hornicle was still here, the detective division was fighting very hard for this, and they were told no. That was a big kick in the groin for them because it was something that was going to benefit all of their families as well, and they were told no back then. But now if we had an opportunity to do it, I hope we're doing it across the board, and I want to be clear about that.
Councilman Doyle. For the police department, I talked to one of the detectives today with the PBA. They went through our labor attorney, their people, and they did get approval. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the resolution ready in time. So that will be on the next council meeting if it's approved tonight. If it's not, then.
That makes me happy, thank you.
Well, let's just be clear. All emergency services, whether it be a water emergency, sewer emergency, obviously public safety emergency, those services are still available 24/7. Yeah, I mean, and that's what's critical. So it would just really be the administrative services here in the building that would be not available one day, correct?
Correct, and I'll be honest and say, we've never really had, for the about two and a half months this is implemented, we've never had complaints from the residents.
Sorry.
And it is nice for some of the residents that they can pop in after work, because since we close at 4:30, they can come in, we're here until 5:30 or whatever the time is, and we've had people come in the morning. It makes it more convenient for them. I do understand what Mr. Dewey is saying, but the residents do get served either way,
I
whether
was
it's done in
going
4
to-
days or 5 days.
I was going to say the same thing. They have the before and after, which is sometimes useful for the residents. And then I believe tax office, during any kind of billing, they adjust their schedules to stagger and be open the 5 days.
Yeah, I believe last year Recreation also accommodated because they had some events and stuff on Saturdays, so it was necessary for them to be here on Fridays. The individual departments did what they need to do to make sure that everybody was served. The main office is where a lot of people come. We get a lot of the phone calls and stuff, but I mean, even if we have marriage applications, we make sure that things are accommodated so people get what they need, and that nobody being in the building on Friday is not an issue.
So, Council President, can I make a recommendation?
Go right ahead.
Or actually, I'm gonna do this, right? I'll go out on a limb for 180 and 181, because they're both the same, right? It's just different unions. I understand where everybody else is coming from, but, I'll put a motion to council right now, and I'll say, I'll make a motion to approve 180, 2025, and 181, 2025.
I'll second them.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
No.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Was that for both?
Yes.
Okay. Next resolution to discuss, 185-2025, authorizes change order number 1 for GMH Associates for secondary clarifier tank rehabilitation for the sewer division through the North Jersey Wastewater Cooperative Purchasing System for additional repairs in the amount of $66,617.55.
I just wanted to discuss this a little bit. I talked to Tom McNaughton. When they initially did this bid on this tank, it was not drained, so they could not see what was going on. They weren't allowed by DEP regulations to drain it. And they didn't think that there was that much more damage down there that needed this much repair. That's why the contractor didn't anticipate this. You guys all have the same paperwork that I have. Shows some pictures of the I-beams and all that are totally rotted out and stuff. And it's the lesser of the two evils is what I was told. To do a total repair is like $250,000, but the contractor felt that this repair would last 50 years. So that's what they say, but none of us will be here to tell.
Was ERI the only one that came back with a bid on this?
No, this was GMH that got this contract.
GMH, sorry,
Yeah.
GMH. Is GMH the only one that, I mean, who was,
Well, because of the timing, because they're already into the job, Josh, and it's built in penalties if they're held up. So they didn't get a price from anybody else because of the timing. I know, I see you down there shaking your head. I shook my head last week when I got this information. Yeah.
It's just the additional repairs they found during,
Right, yeah. Once they got down, they had the sandblast off
Yeah,
the coating and stuff, and once they, realized what was there, it was more severe than they thought. They thought, they might have to do a little patching here and there, but they got to replace total I-beams and stuff like that. And for the timing, if you go out and get a bid and stuff, then you're going to be paying GMH damages for holding them up. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
is this the same tank? Do you know? It looks like it.
These are the two secondary tanks
The
that you
secondary
guys
tanks, they
awarded
said,
last year.
yeah, they said the bearings were all burned up and everything else, and they were gonna get it all fixed, and that was gonna be the last of it. Like, that was, it would never exceed that amount. That's what was told to us, right?
Yeah.
It would it's never gonna exceed that amount.
Well, when you have an administration, prior administration, and a no-good VA, why did we even take over the MUA? It was wore out when they took it over, and I'd like to see how much money we've made in the last 3 years with the MUA, with all the repairs. The infrastructure shot in this town, but we had to have it.
And I believe the last time I heard, we were somewhere around
Buying a bad used car.
70% capacity, right, with what we have in service anyway right now? Okay.
It's a money pit.
do we have a motion? Further discussion? What do we have?
Stupid, though. More wasted money.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. I'll make the motion to approve 185, 2025.
Second?
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yep.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Move on to ordinances. Ordinances for second reading, public hearing, and/or adoption. Ordinance number 11-2025.
Wait, did we approve 186? I'm sorry to stop you.
That was part of the consent
That was,
agenda.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right, sorry.
No worries. Ordinance number 11-2025, 2025 cap ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank in accordance with NJSA 40A:4-45.14. Okay, well, for public comments on this ordinance.
Come on down.
Okay, whose idea was this to do this?
For the cap ordinance? Are you talking about for the ordinance establishing the cap bank? Is
Yeah,
that-
who wants this?
Well,
To make it more than what it is
Our-
typically, right?
President, if you don't mind, I think our our
Candace, you wanna answer
CFO
that?
could answer this one.
Yeah, so this is something that's typically standard for municipalities to adopt, so I'm kind of required to put it in front of council on an annual basis.
So you have to do this?
Yes.
You have to raise the cap?
Yes, it doesn't cost you any money, though, to raise that.
You have no other choice?
I mean, I could get in trouble, so no, I don't. They don't have to approve it, they don't have to adopt it. I have to put it in front of them, though.
Oh, okay. What's the benefit of them about adopting this tonight?
It's a budgeting tool, so in the future, if we needed to raise appropriations above 2.5%, it would allow us to because we had a bank. Does not require them to, it doesn't guarantee that they're going to, it just allows them to, and it puts us in a safer place for future budgeting purposes.
It's a safety net in the event that for some catastrophic reason, we have to spend more than what the budget would allow us to spend. Can you explain better, I can't, the cap bank, what happens in terms
Just
of
give
if you
give
don't
an
use it?
example of what we would
Can
use
you-
it for.
Can you just say that one more time real quick, what you just said before you go on?
I don't know
I'm
what,
trying to understand what you just said. For catastrophic reasons.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something before you go on to ask other people stuff? So you can only use it for catastrophes, or can you use it for any old thing?
well, no, you can't use it for any, we're presumably going to have a budget.
Okay.
If for some reason it is unanticipated that we have to exceed the budget, that's what this allows for, up to a certain a certain amount. Although, can you explain the cap bank? Because I can't do that, Candace, very well.
What I'm trying to get at is, you definitely only can use this extra money for an emergency? That's what I'm trying to get at.
No, you can use it in future budgets if needed.
For,
So it would still
he
go-
said, no, you can't use it on anything, but you're saying, yes, you can use it on
No,
anything.
no, I should-
You can't just use it throughout the year. They would have to adopt a budget allowing the use of the cap bank in
So if
future
they
years.
do that, if they say yes to it tonight, if they do that, they can take this extra money and spend it on anything?
It's
No.
not actual money. So basically,
Okay, okay, I'll just listen. I'll be quiet for a minute.
the state allows you to raise your appropriations by 2.5% standard every year. By doing a cap bank, you can raise it an additional 1%. And whatever you don't use within that appropriation percentage gets to be reserved. It's just an amount that you're allotted, but it's not physical money. And that allows that in the future, if we had to budget higher than the 2.5% for appropriations, we would have that money in that bank to use, and we would be able to successfully adopt a budget. Where this becomes a concern is we have statutory budget requirements that we have to meet. That's debt, Social Security, contractual obligations, we have pension, we have health insurance. If they were to increase more than, more than the 2.5% and take up our allotted 2.5% appropriation, we would not be able to provide certain services because the statutory requirements allowed us to. So basically, it's a budgeting tool in case something happened in the future.
Okay, thank you. So, in other words, if, for instance, we were to get an increase in our joint insurance fund from all these lawsuits, we could use this money for that, right? We could use this increase for
Allocated
that, I'll say.
appropriation, if we
Yeah.
needed to, we could.
Okay, I think that's all.
You don't smell anything, do
What?
you? You don't smell anything, do you?
Michelle?
It's not anything bad right now. I don't know what you're talking about. It went over my head. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Matt.
You're welcome. Anybody else for a public comment? Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny ordinance 11, 2025.
I'll second.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
No. Ordinances for introduction. Ordinance number 12-2025, an ordinance of the Township of Pemberton, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, accepting conveyance of vacant property located at Block 364, Lot 30, Pemberton Township, New Jersey. Ordinance number 13-2025, an ordinance of...
Let's do each one.
I
Need a
do want,
motion to introduce.
Oh, sorry.
With public hearing.
I have a question here. Ro, throw you a curveball here maybe now. Do you happen to know where this block and lot is for this? Does anybody happen to know where this lot and block is?
No, I
This is the one
don't.
being donated, right? This is up on North Pemberton Road, and Perry, what's the road going out to the range from North Pemberton Road? Over by the bridge?
Pepper Road?
Where are you talking about?
Pepper Road.
Huh?
Pepper Road.
No, you said North Pemberton?
North Pemberton and
On the
then,
west side of town?
yeah, going out to the range?
Out to the range? Fort Dix Road?
Yeah.
Fort Dix Road.
No, it's some other name, but it's up in that area where if you go up, if you go around the lake, if you go up South Lake Shore and then over the bridge. if
That's
you go-
Westlake.
Oh, is it-
You're talking about
Pepper,
thought that
you're
was
talking about
north.
all the way back by Pepper Road?
Yeah.
That's nowhere near North Pemberton. You're on the opposite side of town.
Okay.
Petrol? 18
So
years, I
it's-
never heard of that.
It's up in there, it's all highlands. All the property around it, with the exception of one, is either owned by the township or has liens by the township around, on it. So it looks like if it were to be subdivided, it could possibly be 2 developable plots in that area right there.
Okay.
What's it
Is-
zoned?
I honestly, I'm gonna say residential, but I could be wrong.
Is it being donated to us because they're behind on taxes? I
No,
mean, just
they're paid up. I think the owner just passed away and the person inheriting it doesn't want it.
The family is 4 or 5 children now who just inherited it from the death of the mother, and they just don't want to
Okay.
bother.
Okay. All right, well, I hope we do the right thing with this property.
Yeah, I'm
but,
sure they
yeah.
called the Lakewood boys already.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 12-2025. Or introduce. When would be for the next meeting, Amy?
Yeah.
The 18th.
I'll second.
For 6/18, second reading.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Next ordinance for introduction, ordinance number 13-2025, an ordinance of the Township of Pemberton County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Article 3 entitled Consumption in Public Places.
Again, I'm going to apologize. I've spent too much time on the budget and not enough time reading all these things. Does anybody know?
Can I hit the high notes, Mr. Harper?
Yeah, are we looking for a specific deal
No,
on
no,
this?
what happened, during COVID, in order to assist the restaurant trade, the governor allowed for, and the legislature approved on a part-time basis, outside dining, like on the sidewalks.
Right,
yeah, that kind of
right.
thing. So, but now since COVID hopefully is no longer a pandemic, they have now still adopted a legislation, if the town wants to, make that permanent. So this ordinance would allow the outside dining on the sidewalk, so to speak, permanent, as it was allowed during COVID.
Okay, I mean, they'll still have to come and get permits and stuff like that.
If I can, this is regarding establishments that have alcohol, and I did forward this to Rhoda to ask if she had any concerns or questions about it. And in my reading through it, again, I'm not an attorney, however, I don't see how much of this actually applies to our town.
Right.
Because of most
just
our
isn't.
alcohol establishments aren't
Right.
on a sidewalk. The only one I can think of is the old Obies. I don't know what it's
And
called.
they already
For
do-
example, like Ricardo's, they have outdoor dining, but they just don't serve alcohol.
Yeah.
So if you had an establishment that had an outdoor recreation area for eating and they served alcohol, technically in Pemberton right now, you can't have alcohol outside in public.
Actually, they are, that is
Did anybody tell Barry
incorrect,
Buster's that?
Councilman Doyle. We have quite a few establishments that have established outdoor areas when, and this occurred, and they already did expansion of premises permits years ago when they started disallowing smoking inside a building. So many of our establishments that had the area and ability already did expansion of premises. So, yeah, like the pub in Country Lakes, they have a little deck outside. That was an expansion. They all had to do expansions of premises if anything was going outside of their building.
Does this account for BYOB places like Ricardo's?
I'm not sure how this would cover BYOB
BYOBs?
places. It may if we have a restaurant in, like I said, the only establishment I can think of in our town that actually sits on a sidewalk is the old Obies. I don't know
Right.
I forget what it's called at the moment. And I think this would affect that, but other than that, we don't,
It really
our
is,
restaurants and
It-
stuff
it-
like that is all off
it may or may not,
sidewalks.
it may not necessarily, I don't know, apply
Right,
to
so-
But
that.
I think that, like, this is, the state passed things for more, like, the bigger cities, but if something should come to town, this
Right.
keeps us covered.
It can't
Right.
hurt.
Right, they'd still have to come before.
They still have to get
yeah.
all their regular permits.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Ms. Flaherty did mention that maybe we should have a review fee for this, because I'm not, there are fees for, like, expansion of premises and such, but if it's denied, maybe we should still have a review fee, and if we want to establish one, we could put that one in there. This, I don't think, this isn't an urgent one, but it's something you did send me a while
Yeah.
ago, but we've had so much going on, I've kind of been waiting for a quiet time, and that's not going to happen, so here it is.
All right, well,
You can adopt it as,
You can adopt,
Jared, I
this
guess
is
they can
first
adopt it
reading.
as is,
First reading, and then you could
if they
still
want to
amend
do a
it.
quick amendment later to add the review fee
Yeah, sure.
after it gets, but this at least would start covering us in case something
That's right.
does come up.
somebody else can do this.
I make a motion,
I don't like
That we-
I don't like the number.
all my stuff.
Lucky 13.
It was the next number in line.
I make a motion
Should I
that we
skip that from
introduce
now on?
ordinance number 13-2025 at our next meeting on June 18th, 2025.
And I'll second that.
Mr. Bianchini,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Mr. Harper,
Yes,
Mr. Dewey.
Yes.
Next item. Approval by council required for payment of vouchers on bill list dated 5/29/25.
I got a couple questions here, President.
Floor is all yours, Danny.
Candace, do you have a copy of the bill list?
Not in front of me.
Okay.
you want one?
There's a charge on here for Madden and Madden. 3 hits. Could anybody tell us what that's about?
Madden and Madden, I don't know about that particular bill, but I know that they're involved in representing through the various lawsuits, I believe.
They don't go, the lawsuits do not go through me,
I
especially
can't hear you.
if it
Okay.
pertains
And
to
I
me.
just thought maybe, posting the bills, you were aware of this bill.
I was made aware of it after it was entered.
Okay.
Well, usually, I mean, when other ones come on the bill list, it's usually, I'll read, for example, some of yours, Jerry, Wright versus CPA, Tobin versus Pemberton. There's nothing here but a claim number. And again, it's not an attorney that we know as being on
I don't know
being
anything
on
about
the
it.
approved list.
I only know that the Madden firm is doing some work for the town through their insurance company, but I don't know what in particular.
Through which insurance company? JIF?
Yeah,
Oh, they're working for JIF?
yes,
Okay.
but I don't know, no, I don't know if that's, I don't know anything
Well,
about the bill.
Well, that's the thing, without this information, and in my mind, I mean, I would, would you like to?
What's that?
Would you like to
Like to do what?
make a motion? I don't want to take away your thunder.
I make a motion, we don't pay it till we find out who it's for, what's it for, and why we're paying.
I do know who it's for. It's for my case,
For what?
which is why it did not go through me.
I can't hear you.
It's for my case, which is why it did not go through me.
But if they're representing the township on the result of that litigation, why wouldn't it be paid, unless it's a retainer?
It should have went through Summit Risk. Well,
Yeah.
it came on an invoice for Summit Risk. My
Is-
my AP clerk asked administration who should be paid, should it be Summit Risk or Madden and Madden? And it was, he was told Madden and Madden.
Why would this one be different?
But why wouldn't it be paid as part of, I don't know, why wouldn't it be paid by our insurance company to Madden and Madden? They
We
hire-
have a co-insurance of up to 20,000.
Okay. Normally, what's happened in most of, I don't know, Candace, what's happened in most of the cases, and most, generally speaking, the insurance companies would advance that money and then get it back from the town later on.
No, we've paid up to 20,000 in the previous one as well for
Oh, yeah.
co-insurance,
I
and
know
then
you'd
they
be
stop it.
responsible for the 20.
Yeah, yeah, so
Alright.
we pay that up front.
All right.
So,
You have a $20,000 deductible, and this is part of it.
okay. So Madden and Madden's representing him?
No, Madden Madden is representing the township. Oh, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. There's two defendants in that case. It's the township and the mayor. I don't know which one.
Okay, well, I think
Or-
until we get more information, it doesn't get paid. Because there's no reason, in my opinion, that we should be paying any legal expenses for somebody that created the mess. And I don't know what you guys think about it, but again, we're taking advantage of our audience with nonsense. And I want more information before I make a decision. I don't know.
Danny, I have to agree with you on that. Everything else we have here on the bill list shows exactly, I mean, of all the entries on the bill list for Mr. Dasty here, under the item description, it specifies exactly what that bill is paying for, and all this just says is claim number.
Yeah. I mean, was there a contract? You know, I don't think anything was brought to our attention,
Yes, sir.
so I want to find out who we're representing. And if it's,
spelled out, exactly
Yeah.
what we were paying for.
Yeah,
everything.
no,
I don't think the township should have to pay for his legal fees, because every problem that he has, he created. And I'm going to feel very strong on this. So I make the motion that we don't pay Madden and Madden until we get all the paperwork on who it's for and what it's for.
Do you have any more questions on the bill list, or we can do
Yeah,
all of
before
them?
we make a motion,
I
we
got
have any
another
other
one.
questions?
Do you have another one?
Yeah, I got a couple. What do you got, something, Harry?
Roll, no, roll,
Now, this one here is petty, but I'm
May I
just going to
suggest-
give you an example how we waste money.
May-
Clean community. Now, I imagine there's a grant here, but why would you buy clear 60-gallon trash can liners for $2,900 at Granger? If you could go to Harbor Freight, you can go anywheres and buy trash bags, 60 gallons, but I think unless they got a tractor and trailer load of them for $2,900, maybe it is a bargain. But I mean, it jumped right out, you know, and I'm for clean community, and I'm sure it's a grant, but why would you waste money spending $2,900 when you could probably done it for $600 and had more money in your grant for things that you really need? I guess nobody's got an answer for that, right? Again, wasteful spending every 2 weeks. That's all I got. I think it's enough.
Josh, anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Maybe we'll get all ready.
Anything else, a little steep?
Eric?
Yeah.
No. Not for them. It's called easy come, easy go.
I make a motion to approve the bill list with the exception of Madden and Madden 25-01292. That's the PO number.
I'll second that.
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Moving on, solicitors report.
Just briefly, thank you, President. I spoke last time about that we are negotiating with KF Navy and trying to address the redevelopers agreement that was adopted, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. And we're getting there. It's not finalized yet. We hope to have more good news for you about that at our next meeting. You may know by now, but just for the record, the township is being sued by one of its employees, the township mayor. That came through about a week and a half ago. We were served. So that's a new one that will go to our insurance companies. Some issues, we're going to get this resolved, but some issues have come up about when the township, about 5 years ago, bought the new Lisbon Water Company from the county. There's some I's that still need to be dotted and T's crossed or whatever, so we're going to address the missing documents that we should have had 5 years ago. We're going to get that straightened out. New Horizons is the name of the company that's contracted to buy from us the Browns Mill Shopping Center. I don't know, I heard today there's a rumor that the suit has been instituted by one of the tenants. I don't know if that's true or not, but I suspect that might slow down the closing, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But I think that the tenants are still there.
Was there a scheduled closing date or not?
They wanted to close around the 15th, but they're not going to close if the tenants are still there.
Okay.
And the last thing is, our township clerk has been a great assistant. We're trying to get together a TNR ordinance that I think that we'll be trying to get together for the town next meeting or so. So that's on the horizon. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate the updates. Next up, mayor's and/or business administrators report.
All right, I have a couple things. There was a forest fire over in Ocean County recently. I don't know if you remember it or not. Jerry, you probably do. It was over in your neighborhood. We received a letter from the state assembly and senators for the 9th district. And it's addressed Pemberton Township Engine 1826. Dear members of Pemberton Township Engine 1826, on behalf of the residents of Ocean County in the 9th Legislative District, we extend our deepest gratitude and sincere appreciation for your extraordinary service and heroic efforts during the recent Jones Road wildfire. Your courage, professionalism, and swift response in the face of a rapidly escalating and dangerous situation were nothing short of remarkable. The Jones Road wildfire was the second largest wildfire in the last 20 years. Thank you for your tireless dedication and teamwork. Lives were protected, homes were saved, and potentially devastating disaster was brought under control. We recognize the risks you willingly accept each time you answer a call to duty, and during the Jones Road wildfire, your commitment to the safety of our communities was on full display. Your actions exemplify the very best of public service and remind us of the strength and resilience that define New Jersey's first responders. Please know that your efforts have not gone unnoticed. We, along with the grateful citizens of Ocean County, commend you in your bravery and thank you for your unwavering service. And I'm probably going to butcher these names, so forgive me. It's signed by Brian E. Rump, Assemblyman, 9th District, Gregory E. Meyer, Assemblyman, and you're definitely going to help me on this one. Senator, 9th District, Carmen A. Amato. Oh, I got close. So they did send a letter. It's very nice. They also sent a really nice proclamation that was signed. It's in color. It's pretty high class. And it basically says the same thing that the letter said. I can't say enough good things about all of our first responders in town. Our fire department is a volunteer fire department. They do an incredible job. I just wish we had more of them. Nobody volunteers anymore. The other things I wanted to bring up are kind of local, not necessarily, well, some of them are township. We had Clean Communities last week. I was out for an hour or so with Clean Communities. It was nasty weather, so not a whole lot of people participated, but it really does accomplish a lot by, going out there and walking around the streets and picking up the garbage and some of the other things that are thrown out on the streets. Want to remind everyone, I believe it's this Saturday, if the weather holds up, is going to be the fishing derby at the lakes for our kids. And another one, there was a gentleman, we talked about this once before, a year or two ago. There was a gentleman and his wife that lived in town, Mr. and Mrs. Gower. And they used to do antiquing and stuff like that. And Mr. Gower was a Korean War veteran, I believe. Their heart was in Pemberton Township, and they made out really good with antiquing. And when they passed away, they wanted a scholarship set up in their name at the high school. So they they had the scholarship set up through a legal firm, and they appointed 3 people as the administrator, trustees, whatever you want to call it, for the fund. One of them is the mayor of the town, the current mayor. One of them is the pastor for the Methodist church that's catty corner away from the Little Red Schoolhouse. And then the other one is the current high school principal. The Gowers donated $3.2 million for a scholarship for our high school kids. So when we set up this scholarship, we set it up so that the principal of 3.2 is always there, and we only give out scholarships with the interest. And we try to roll a little bit of the interest back into the principal so that eventually it'll grow more than 3.2 million. This year, I was very surprised to find out that we were going to be able to give out $120,000 to our kids. They're receiving that tonight, I believe, at the high school. We had 34 kids do essays and apply for the scholarships. I read through some of these. These kids are phenomenal. Intelligent, grounded, well thought out essays. We sit there reading these things, and we didn't know how we were going to figure out what 12 were going to get the essays. This town has some extremely bright kids, some good talent come out of our schools. You always hear some of the horror stories, and I'm telling you, these schools educate our kids and do a really, really good job. I was impressed with what I read, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you for those comments. All right, let's go left to right. Josh?
Just want to thank everybody for sticking in tonight. Had a really good couple weeks. I'm glad, it looks like we're moving the budget forward, so that's great. Everybody have a safe and happy next 2 weeks, and we'll see you on the 18th, and I think we'll beat Matt's out of time of 8:30, so that's a good thing.
Okay, I just want to touch on 2 things. First of all, I know a lot of the employees who listen, they're not here in attendance tonight, but I want them to know that one thing that was paramount was to get you guys a work shift for the hot summer days that you want. And we were up here kicking it around, just trying to make it what we thought would be a little bit more accessible. That after speaking to a couple department heads, it just doesn't work for every office. So if it's not going to work across the board, we can't do it. But one thing that was important to me was to get a work schedule that you guys wanted. So I'm glad that we were able to pass that for you. And second of all, to the firefighters, where the mayor just read that proclamation for them. As a member of council and as a resident of Pemberton, I want to tell you that not only do you guys make our fire department look good, you make the residents and the town of Pemberton look even better. And for that, I thank you very much. I only hope that you all got down there, you did your jobs, and you all got home safely. 0 injuries. And thank you so much for your service.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank Mr. Bianchini and everyone that was involved in having this Memorial Day parade that we just had the other week. The participants, the audience, everybody, it was a great turnout. The committee did a great job. I can only see bigger and better parades coming along. It was just a wonderful thing to be a part of, I'll tell you. Thank you, Mr. Bianchini. Pass the word on to everybody else that participated. There were many, many participants and stuff, It takes a lot of people to pull something like that off, and you did a great job. And, hopefully you residents come out to these events like the Memorial Day Parade, the upcoming Water Carnival. As the mayor mentioned about the kids fishing derby this coming Saturday, hopefully you get your kids out there and participate in that. A lot of fun for them. We thank everybody for coming out here. As Councilman Ward said, we've been doing a little work on the budget. We still have a little more to do. We're looking at your best interest. That's all we can say. Thanks again. Have a wonderful night.
I want to make a comment that I am 100% behind Public Works employees and all the employees in this building. One of the problems we have, Rose stated that she's understaffed in her department, and if she had more people, her department could do a lot better. Candace's remarks was she's short-handed in her department. And we have to get these departments up and running so that they can do a better job for us. I don't even know how they do it with the staff that they have. But when you get these departments up with the right people, Amy needs people, they need support for this town to run. And the Fridays off thing, I just want to split it where you have people here. You can't just close a building down. It's got to be covered. And I just wanted to make sure that I am not against the employees. I'm just against the decisions that were made. And Mr. Ward and myself were outvoted 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. And, I mean, it's a good program, but I just think it needs tweaked so that this building can operate on a Friday. I heard a comment, people have little kids. So's the town. There's people that probably get a Friday off to come in here and do business, and they can't do it. I mean, everybody's life is the same. Everybody has kids. Everybody has to look for babysitters, but we have to take care of our taxpayers, okay? Other than that, I agree with the job that Matt did with the parade. It was very good. I'm going to be out of commission for a couple weeks. No applause or nothing. I'll be doing it from Zoom, but my heart is going to be on the taxpayers of Pemberton Township, and I look like I'm a mean old man, but I got a big heart, and I love the town, and I just want things done right, and apparently we lost our way with that. Everybody have a great week, and I'll see you when I get back. Thank you.
All right. Let me start off by thanking all of the department heads that came to the meeting Monday and tonight. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it, Candace. Thanks for all your work on the budget. And we got it kind of late, but we've really been, between working with Candace and the other department heads and the council members here, working diligently. I made a comment Monday night about no tax increase as the budget stands right now. That is what it is. There is no tax increase. Will that change? Probably not, but I'm not going to promise that until we finally adopt it. But as of right now, there's no tax increase, which was our goal. We still want to trim some spending, as you could hear by some of the questions that Mr. Harper and Mr. Dewey asked. But, all the decisions we're making budget-related, or any decisions we make, period, it's all in the best interest of the town. So thank you to your departments and all of your employees that work every day, just busting their asses out there. We appreciate it, and the residents appreciate it. To our fire department, what can be said about them? The number of calls they respond to this year, it's unbelievable. I think, Harry, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the most ever up to this point in the year?
Yeah, I believe we're over 1,000 calls already into this year. It's definitely exceeded last year, according to the chief, yeah.
So they're doing a remarkable job, and not only for us, you heard by the proclamation, they've done it elsewhere. And they shine wherever they go, so I want to thank them all for that. With regards to the parade, it wasn't my parade. I was just part of a great team that put it together and made it successful. So I want to thank all the members of the Veterans Advisory Committee, all of our veterans organizations, all of our local businesses who came through like you wouldn't believe with donations. It's just been phenomenal. And I also want to thank, I don't know if she's watching, Georgina Danley. She had given us her son for a couple of days. Her son Lucas and his friend needed some community service hours for the National Honor Society. So they were able to get about 8 of those hours with us, supporting us on the parade. So, and these kids were great. I mean, they were all over it. So I really want to thank them for that. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. But anybody that participated, helped, stood on the side of the road, took pictures, thank you. It was some community event, and we just hope we could build on it from there. That's all I got. Thank you all for showing up tonight. Thank you for all your support. Yeah, go ahead.
It's about the whole, you guys working 10 hours on, for 4 days and taking off on, Friday? Got to go cover, question, he's right that, we kind of need you guys here on Friday, so couldn't you guys just work 9 hours during the week and then work a half day on Friday? I mean, you make the same amount of hours that way rather than you guys shutting down entirely on a Friday. I mean, I have off only on Sundays and Fridays, and I gotta get all my stuff done with you guys, because I work all day. I work from when the sun comes up until my boss says you can go home. So that could be from 3 to like 8 o'clock for all I know. And with only having Fridays off and then you guys are all shut down, I'm like, what am I doing with my day? I mean, I gotta scramble around for that. So wouldn't that be the same solution?
Well, so we've already discussed this, and we did approve that resolution for the Monday through Thursday work week. It's part of it is it's part of a union negotiation. So it's not a decision we make unilaterally up here. It's, we're presented with it from the discussions that were made with the Labor Relations Board. So as of right now, those are the hours. And, if there's something we need to change later, you bring it up to administration, bring it up here during public comments, to get it on record, and we can look at it again next year when it's brought up again.
Okay, so that way a whole year to bring up this exact same comment.
It's just for the summer, it's not year-round. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so for the summer, okay.
Oh, if that wasn't clear, I apologize. Yeah, it's like summer hours, that's all it is. Yeah. Oh, no.
Still, you have to, if you guys want to do this IKEA hours, yes, I almost worked at an IKEA once, they did the exact same thing. But if you guys want to take that Friday, at least take a half day by working an extra hour from Monday to Thursday, so the exact same hours, but on Friday, you have to leave a little earlier. I mean, like I said, some of us who are off on Friday, we can just come here, get it done, and be done, but, we're on the same page in that situation.
Understood. I think we're too far down the road now to make that, affect that change for this summer, but we can readdress it next year. Yeah. All right. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Good meeting, man.
Less than 2 hours. Holy shit. I'm pinching myself. Is this real?